Hey everybody, and welcome to I guess another live show. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm very rusty. And the only thing I can do with that is, I don't know, try to be a little bit entertaining. I guess I don't know, maybe sort of, maybe kind of. I don't know. So, what was the point of this today? Oh, right. We're going to be talking about the second book in the Trylle Trilogy. We are talking about Torn! Yay! Wait, wait. Yeah, Torn. Torn. Yeah. Anywho, what is Torn in the sense of it all? Well, let's see. If you guys remember the first book review or whatever, hold on, I got a message on Skype. You asshole! Anyway, from where we left off in the first book, Wendy ran away from it all. I think. Yeah, I think. I'm drawing a blank right now, but I'm pretty sure she ran away from her responsibilities. And then, it has been a while since I've had to do a review on this. Right. So afterwards, and after her little mishmash thing with Finn, she's taking Ray's, I think it's Ray's, out of the comfort zone or whatever to go all the way back home to meet up with her host brother Matt, and her aunt Maggie, who have been looking for her like crazy since she went missing. Am I surprised by this? Nah. If I was surprised by this, I would not be a good writer, now would I? But although some people disagree. Still, though, after that sort of stuff, we also had the glorious thing of, lettuce. Nope. Not even gonna go through that. Nope. Although we did have to go through a lot of weird shit though. As soon as they went back to the house, which I forget the location too because it has been a while since I've read the beginning of Torn. Like I've already finished reading Ascend, so I can do that next month. But as soon as she gets back, one of the trackers from her society comes to find her, which is Duncan, an inexperienced little guy who is kind of stupid, kind of reliable, and all around kind of an adorable loser. So he's like Carl or Sheen from Jimmy Neutron. Kind of simple, but also at the same time dumb. And I say that because as soon as he's trying to make sure that she leaves, he gets his ass kicked by two people, and one of them being a very buff woman. I mean buff like the person that made Ronda Rousey look like she got hit by a semi-truck. Kind of ugly. Ugh. Anyway, though, after that, and after they kicked the shit out of Wendy, and kicked the shit out of Matt, who had nothing to do with it, they then go all the way to the Vitra Kingdom. And what is the Vitra Kingdom? Well, it's apparently a very sad and depressing place. So I'm thinking it's like, who's that chick that Tink hates? It's like this girl named Cheyenne's own special hole that looks like it's so decayed and rotten that you wonder why guys go anywhere near it. Like that kind of disgusting sort of locale, if you get what I mean. So, after going all the way there and then being put in a dungeon where hobgoblins are treating her, and yes, there are hobgoblins. It's a thing. I'm not proud of it. But yeah, hobgoblins. We are then treated to, of course, the beauty and wonder, merriment that is Loki. Honestly, as I take my spectacles off to be a little bit more expressive, Loki's kind of an interesting fit for a character. I mean, yeah, he's kind of an abrasively foolhardy dumbass. Kind of like if you were to take an anime perspective, maybe he's like Sanji from One Piece or whatever. Or Brock from Pokemon if you guys want to be more pop culture related. But at the same time, when you kind of get to know him throughout the book, he seems more of like a likable sort. Like he's that kind of guy that went through some tough times and just wants to get with the girl. Why the fuck do I sound like I'm from the Bronx? Anyway, regardless of that, we then had the treat of the big old Star Wars type of reveal for Wendy. As soon as she's going into the chamber of the king, she's then treated to the whole thing of the Vitra king, whose name is Oren, spelled O-R-E-N, is her father. Yeah, couple of notes there. So her dad is the main antagonist of the story, and her mom is a cruel, vindictive bitch who wanted to pretty much put her in a place where she didn't even want to, due to the laws and equivalents of her own kingdom, in order to make sure that she kept running the stuff, because her husband is an abusive twit who wanted nothing more than to have her pretty much killed so that he can rule two different kingdoms of a society of trolls that are divided into 5 different species branch. Yes, there are 5 different types of trolls, as we learn in the next book. And we're supposed to be feeling some kind of way about this, because so far it's as confusing as a storyline from Once Upon a Time or Fables. I mean, really, who in the... I could really think of a lot of things that would not make sense about this. A lot of things. But to make this like your whole trifecta thing, to making us more accepting of the plot, to make it seem like it's kind of concrete and whatnot, that's just kind of lazy and quite frankly stupid. Nevertheless, though, it is kind of endearing, I guess. I mean, it's not smart, nor is it, quite frankly, that good, but, Anyway, it's not as if it's something that's bad or pretty much lackluster. It's just something that I'm not really that okay with. It's sort of one of those things where if it were to happen in a different sort of setting, it wouldn't be that good. I see fire somewhere on Skype, but I'm trying to be professional, not go to my usual place. Anyway, following that whole dumbass reveal, though, I'm sorry I took too much time on that. We were then treated to knowing about the Vitra Queen, Sarah, who is, I swear to God, if you do not put that fire out on Skype right now. And Sarah is pretty much like the one person throughout the kingdom besides Loki that you could literally not want to beat over the head with. Mostly because I think that Amanda Hocking wanted us to have at least 2 likable characters in a scenario involving villains. And for all intents and purposes, it kind of works. But at the same time, it doesn't. Because as we learn throughout the whole series, it isn't really that kind of a smart detail for a large amount of time, because you want them to have more of a holding sort of stuff where you can at least sympathize with why the villains are villains instead of just being like they're evil for evil's sake. We kind of learn as people that throughout different types of stories, even from Shakespearean plays, that villains are more than just an archetype, which is probably one of the biggest critiques that I will have at this moment in time. Later critiques, though, will come later, obviously, but we have some more stuff to go over, like forced romance of the interspecies persuasion. And I mean interspecies the same way that I mean interracial, like how Tink and... Wait, should I even talk about Tink right now? Nah. Anyway, we're just kind of having this foreshadowing thing of, get that fire off Skype right now! We're just trying to get through all this stuff of a foreshadowing event for Loki and Wendy. Loki wants to hit that. She ain't legal just yet. She's like on the cusp of being actually 18. No, wait, she turned 18 in the last book, so she's legal. Okay, she's legal. And he's just like, I want to hit that, but I'm not sure if I should. Until there's the breakout scene where Finn, Tav, and a few other people, I'm assuming Willa, come to rescue Wendy. And as we kind of find out in the last book, this is when Loki was like, he went from wanting to hit that to wanting to marry that. It's basically like a modern day romance of like a guy at a bar seeing a girl wearing the sluttiest of outfits, but as soon as she starts vomiting on his shoes, he's just like, I want to marry that, I want to hit that, I want to pop some kids out of here, and then I want to take it back to this bar so we can get freaky on the dance floor. That kind of modern day thing, I'm guessing, because that's mostly all the romance stories that I hear from a bunch of people nowadays, because romance is apparently dead. But I digress. Following this rescue, we then have even more forced stuff, like people are freaking out over how Wendy left, people are being bitchy, people are trying to be complacent, and also apparently Matt is dragged along for the entire ride, along with Ray's going back there because his background character girlfriend Rianne is there. But it's kind of a new kind of dynamic that they're trying to introduce throughout the second book, with Matt being there and trying to understand the society of trolls. It sort of gives us our own little anchor for us, the readers, since we're, or at least I'm assuming we're not supernaturally based in reality. We're supposed to just read this from Matt's own expressions as like it's strange and new. I'm not going to say that people aren't born supernatural, because let's be honest, guys, reality is pretty much fiction incarnate. You cannot deny that there's stranger things that we can never explain or hope to understand. But I'm guessing some scientists are probably going to watch this later on in the future and try to make it seem like I'm crazy. Still, we then have to move on to Alora and all of her ilk towards Wendy trying to leave, saying it was a temper tantrum, even though she's slowly dying. Yeah, the bitch character that we're supposed to hate is dying, and yet I honestly loved Alora throughout the whole book series, even from the get-go. Like, seriously, even before the big reveal in the later final book of the trilogy, I already knew from the get-go that she loved Wendy like no other. I mean, what mom wouldn't love their child enough to try and protect them from an abusive asshole? I mean, even Tink, if she were to become a parent, would pretty much give them away if she was going to marry some guy that was going to beat her senseless and then treat her like a rag doll. Although, knowing her, she'd probably murder him and then go after the children to make sure they're safe. But we're not going into how awesome she is right now. Or are we? I'm going to ponder this later. Still, though, with Wendy trying to be like, why didn't you tell me who my daddy was? Why were you hiding this? Were you being freaky deaky on the side? That last part may have been exaggerated, but whatever. And Alora just being like, no, 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 no. I know, I don't want that Strange. Give me Garrett or give me Malcolm. I'll take that Strange. And it just gets to a whole new thing of them trying to get their whole relationship on more of a solid ground. Because as you remember in the first book, she didn't want nothing to do with her mom. Anything. Especially after the whole thing with Kim. But with this, it's now just them trying to make sure that they're all in the great kind of mindset to get along, which is harder. Am I saying it's easier? No. It's never easier. It's always going to be harder. At the same time, though, would I say it's smart or ingenious or helpful in any way? God, no. God, no. Are you insane? No. This is probably the most dysfunctional sort of assortment I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, it's a good thing for character development, but it's also very awkward for a mom and daughter sort of perspective. I mean, could you imagine you just finding out that your dad is an abusive psychopath with Neolithic kind of proportions to himself, and then a mom that's emotionally distant and kind of mentally and emotionally abusive, trying to make amends to you after not even giving a fuck about you enough to find you after 18 years, leaving you alone with a person that tried to kill you at 8 years old and having to move around the country numerous times because you have the power of persuasion to make sure anyone could do whatever you wanted, and then just making it seem like it's okay? Because honestly, I think a lot of people would say no. Just no. But then again, we also have to deal with Finn being an emotionless, kind of heartless bastard that every single person apparently still wants to fuck. I'm not even trying to sugarcoat it. That's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it seem like Finn is still likable, even though he's pushing Wendy away, even though she's literally begging for the D. Could you even imagine how many times a lot of guys wish they were in that position where they would just want someone to beg for the D that badly? Like, there are a lot of guys out there that want someone that thirsty, and yet he's just squandering that because he's like, since I'm a peasant and she's a princess, I can't hit that. Guys, fictional or otherwise, this needs to stop. If a girl wants you and you want her, just don't question it. Go with it. It's not that hard. Am I saying it's probably the stupidest thing in the world to just pass it up because of class? Yes. Yes, and I'm saying this after doing that awful thing with the selection. By God, guys. If you're ever put in a book, comic book, graphic novel book, novelist book, whatever, or if you're just in real life or just in a fucking movie, if a girl wants you that badly and you want her just as badly, go for it. Just do it. Okay, I'm getting off topic here because there's just so much wrong with so many of these plot lines. But then again, we also have the enlightenment of learning about more stuff with trolls, like the fact that they become more powerful with age, like how Wendy goes from just having persuasion to having telekinesis and painful seething abilities, where she can make people writhe in pain just from having angry emotions. I would say that's PMS, but whatever. And we also have the joy of learning more about Tove and Willa having character development where she wants to bone Wendy's human brother. And probably does. I am not even joking. That interspecies sex life is probably very thriving right now, and we have no idea. Still, though, what does that mean if Tove is getting more development? Well, apparently, get this bombshell for you guys. So let me give y'all for instance. See, right here we have the queen and we have a princess arranging that so that their daughter and their son will be getting married to secure the society. And after that, they gonna be some beautiful unions where everybody gonna be applauding. That is your for instance. So basically, yeah, it's kind of like that. She's being proposed to by a guy that openly doesn't really like her in that way to get into a political marriage. Yeah, because those are always smart. Those do not lead to people seeking out outside lovers and probably going into so far as to inbreed territory for love. Yeah, because that is how society always works, ain't it, guys? Yeah, it was very stupid. Still, though, I wouldn't say it's that bad because, well, in the midst of it all, we do kind of get more background into Finn's character, where we finally do learn about Malcolm, the one-off joke I told you about before, who is pretty much just the whole family of trackers, with Malcolm being seduced by Wendy's mom a couple years back. I'm guessing high class, low class kind of mentality went a long way since James Cameron's Titanic finally hit movie theaters all those years ago. It's just spring up like wildfire where everyone wants to bone the low class if they're high class. They should write a book about that. And it just goes into more stuff like why Finn is trying to make sure that stuff is changed, even if he's working on the inside of it. But at the same time, it makes him a fucking idiot. Yes, you want to change things, but denying your own happiness just because of class differences? Come on. This is coming from me, guys. I am probably a very emotionally distant person that would rather watch the entire planet Earth be incinerated with most of humanity dying along with it. And yet I would chase after the person that I love the most, even if they were, I don't know, a celebrity, a princess, a goddess on an island somewhere, or just someone I could never have. And yet I am the one that's telling a writer that that is the dumbest kind of premise that they could when they have been published longer than I've been writing. Yeah, it's that kind of moment where you're just like, I have fucked up if someone who hasn't even made sure the stuff is sold yet is telling me how to do stuff properly. I'm not even joking. Still, though, it's not all that bad. I mean, well, it is that bad, but at the same time, no, it's just all that bad. It is just all that bad and more. Oh, it's just awful. Where was I going with this? Shit, I forgot where I was going with this. Anyway, going back to the whole review of it all. Oh, damn, I'm watching myself. I apologize for watching myself. That's narcissistic. So, from just that backstory, will Finn change his ways to make sure that he isn't a complete tool? Do pigs fly? No, no, they do not fly. Ugh. Throughout the whole process of it, I have literally seen a lot of dumb shit happen throughout the book series. I've seen people stomach down food that they literally cannot eat, otherwise they would die. I have seen where thirsty ass bitches want to hit that with someone that is obviously gay, and that would probably body slam them into a wall if they try to touch them down there. I have seen a growing older by the minute MILF that looks 60 something when she's 30 try to slob the knob of two different dudes just from a seductive stare with everyone still in the room. And yet Finn's character is by far the dumbest character I've seen throughout the whole book series. How do you do that? It's just I've run out of words for what I could or could not say for Finn at this point, so I'm just going to move on and never bring this up again before I have an aneurysm. So then, from this very process, we are then led into a whole new slew of idiocy with how they're trying to make the whole proposal party happen. Throughout the whole training process, we are then supposed to make it seem like it's a believable proposal from Tove, even though he openly seems like an asexual person that would rather have his own balls chopped off than sleep with a woman. We'll get to that. But how do we save ourselves from that stupidity? Oh, we have Loki burst through the door with fresh scars on his back from someone beating the shit out of him all day with a riding crop or something. Yeah, it got dark real fast. So with Loki having a back with a bunch of scars that would make Jesus Christ look at him like goddamn, we are then treated to him saying that he's seeking amnesty because he ran away from the Vitra, who were going to beat him until he was dead. They're just piling on the Passion of the Christ symbolism with him right now. And with all of that, we're supposed to pretty much be like he's being sketchy, when in all honesty, he's probably the only likable person we have thus far. I mean, sure, Wendy is always likable. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a Wendy in their life? But everyone else is just being very unlikable right now. And Loki is our saving grace, also because he is funny, entertaining, and quite the charming guy. He's just always walking around shirtless for ladies like, that's more romantic. And it's not even that kind of a bad thing because he really wants to make amends to stuff and become a part of the Trylle society. Does that excuse him though from the other people? No, because they're very racist. I mean, like, people that show up to a KKK rally even though their daughters are fucking black guys, kind of racist. I mean, people that try to call out all of Muslims as if they're part of ISIS, but they allow them to just work with them and to marry off their own children to them, kind of racist. I'm talking the observantly ignorant type of racist. I never thought I'd say that kind of scenario in a review, but I digress because you guys need to learn this. And how do we make sure that he gets his amnesty? By having Sarah come and take his ass away on Alora's own standards to make sure that he goes home and is safely secured. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely, everyone? Yay! No. Our saving grace is gone now, people. We have to deal with the boring, tedious bullshit where a lot of people are unlikable right now. Except for Willa and Wendy, because Willa is being a really awesome person, even though she's probably doing the interspecies swirl, and we have no idea if it is or isn't, because it's kind of like a blatant sexual thing that's hanging over your head. Why am I getting upset about that? Oh, right, because I do not like hoary, unsanctioned behavior. Anyway, oh, fire. Get off my screen, fire! Anyway, throughout the whole thing, we then have what I would like to say the montage of Finns. We have Professional Finn. We have Whoopee Finn. We have Cries Like a Bitch Finn. We have Thirsty Finn. We have Rapey Finn. And we have He's Lost His Mind So Fast He's Steve Buscemi Finn. All in the span of a couple of chapters. After which we then have his own story in the book, and with him trying to, I'm guessing, sexually assault Wendy in the library. Yeah. Nothing says I love you like literally violently making out with someone, trying to physically assault them with non-consensual sex against some bookshelves. Yeah. I feel like I'm on an FBI watch list for reading this. And then we have one more kind of surprise coming at us with, I'm guessing after the powers kind of thing is supposed to be shocking. Honestly, after reading so many different books in my life, powers aren't the biggest shock. Our shock factor for the remainder of the book is not only the proposal, not only the Willa and Matt romance, not only the fact that Loki is not low-key into Wendy. Our shock factor is supposed to be that Tove or Tav is gay. Yeah, Amanda Hocking, yes, the lady that wrote this book. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm literally going to say it like this. When I read the first book and I didn't do any Wikipedia research, I already knew that Tav was gay. How do I know he was gay? Because he was written like a stereotypical gay guy. Literally, think about it like this. It's a guy that seems disinterested with the world, only feels comfortable talking to women as friends, is shy around males, is uncomfortable at parties due to a secret, wants to impress Mummy, and is only doing what's right because he feels like it's to make sure that Mummy is happy. It is the trifecta, no, not trifecta, it is the checklist for how to write a stereotypical gay guy. And I know this because people have given me a checklist on everything with the LGBT community in literature. I'll give you a lesson in how to write shitty lesbians next week. Still though, that is supposed to be our shocking factor that Tav is gay. People, this was made during the 2010s. I don't think being gay is a shock. What would be more of a shock is that Finn didn't really want to bang Wendy as much as sell her off to the bits. Right? That would have been a shock. That would have been, I don't know, something really interesting for the trilogy. But no, we just end up with a very rapey Finn that wants to sexually assault someone in the library when they're already engaged. And Loki just being the hilarious one to sweep her off her feet by saying, "Run away with me." but I can show you the well. Shining, shimmering, fuck! You're engaged. Damn it. I need another Disney song. Shit! I gotta run. That kind of event. And it's not even that kind of whole thing that I'm kind of upset with. It's just that the whole... You know what? I'm just gonna pretty much end it like this throughout the whole story. I already told you all the events that lead up to it, and I already told you all the events that happen, but it already just ends with them just trying to make the best of it because Allura is dying, Wendy's trying to be a better person, Loki is awesome, Finn is rapey, Malcolm wants to do the right thing, Tav is gay, people just want things to happen. The fucking end. End of the second book. And the only reason I'm kind of saying it like this is because out of the entire trilogy, Torn is the one I despise. Literally, I would pretty much have told people I would read anything that they throw at me. I would read the Mortal Instruments series. I would read Maze Runner trilogy. I would read the Hunger Games trilogy. I would read the entire Harry Potter franchise. I would read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I would read that Alice in Wonderland zombie-related trilogy. I would even read erotic fan fiction from all those weird fan fiction websites. But the thing of it is, guys, is that I want tasteful literature. That is not what I get with this. The pacing is terrible. The characters, even though are iconically getting better with writing time, are becoming unlikable throughout the entire span of this. Every single side character that you want to hate ends up your favorite in a darker light. Yes, it gets more mature than it was in the previous one, but it also suffers from everything stereotypical. And no real development from the antagonist side. Why is he evil? Why is he sadistic? Why did he even want to be a bad person in the first place? Why is his head so far up his own ass? Why is all the bad things happening? Why is there a war? Why does Oren want to make everyone suffer? No real reason? He's just evil? Sure, we'll just go with that because it all makes things easier. Yeah. Guys, I am tired of those kind of plot lines, and this is one of the main examples of why. Sure, I could go into more detail if I was reviewing, I don't know, Spider-Man One More Day, but I don't feel like yelling off the top of my lungs and making people cry. But this shit right here, this motherfucking shit right here, is deplorable. I mean, really. When all is said and done, if I'm reading something, no matter what the subject matter is, even if I'm not going to write that material, I want to be entertained from start to finish. I want to be able to grasp things and learn from them as a writer myself. I want to make sure I get something where I can put it into my own story with the proper elements to make sure it is all properly made. And yet, throughout this whole time I was reading the second book, all I wanted to do, all I even wanted to do, was to take my own new weapon that I pretty much blatantly stole from an ex, stab puppies, and kick babies in the head. That is how wrong this whole book felt to me. This is how deplorable this whole thing felt to me, as if it wanted me to commit some horrible acts on humanity. And yet, the only saving grace as to why this isn't one of my worst books I've ever read is the fact that Ascend saved this whole trilogy for me. So basically, that is my whole spiel on what I feel about it without the rating. With the rating, I have to take a sip of this because getting angry and frustrated makes me thirsty. I swear, this is how I'm going to feel on my wedding day in North Carolina. So, from taking all the stuff from plot, characters, settings, motivations, my own personal enjoyment, and after being rescued from a dungeon after doing some stuff with someone that wanted to fuck me, and then having to deal with a rapist person in the library, even though I'm already engaged, I'm giving this whole book a 3.5 out of 7. It is by far the worst part of a trilogy, sort of like how a lot of people said that Catching Fire was the worst part of the Hunger Games, or how people were to assume that Prisoner of Azkaban was the worst part of Harry Potter. But at the same time, it is not the worst second part of a trilogy. That would be the entirety of the prequel Star Wars movies. For recommendations, though, on what good things you want to read as a second part of a trilogy, I would point you to, I'm guessing, Insurgent from the Divergent series, and to, hold on, Tank, what's the second book in that Alice in Wonderland zombie book series? God damn it, she's not even helping me. Well, from those two books I was talking about, along with a second book from the Goddess test, I want to say, I was asking you what was the second book from the Alice in Wonderland zombie series that's part of a good thing. Okay, she's no help. We're almost done, everybody. Don't worry.
wanted the second book?
Yeah, I wanted the second book.
That would be Through the Zombie Glass.
Okay, Through the
Zombie one is Alice in Zombieland.
Okay, so Through the Zombie Glass. Okay, Through the Zombie Glass is the second thing, and also your mic is on. Like, people can hear you, Tank. Anyway, though, that is basically how I feel about the entire Torn book. And we're going to be talking about Ascend. Tink, do you want to say anything before I end the broadcast?
Hello.
Yeah. Anyway, that is it for me right now, guys. If you want to hear my comma reviews, or you want to see me do some drawing stuff, or you want to wait until next year to see me do some Let's Plays, or doing some interesting stuff with music next year, just make sure that you subscribe and become a Nomad today with the Pyramid Inn. My name is V. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.